Obviously, it's an emotional night. Ashton and Tejralova have been with us since day one, since our organization started. Incredibly important pieces to what we built over the last 2 years. So it's obviously difficult to see them move on, but wish them all the best in Vancouver and Seattle. They're terrific players and they're terrific people, and I know they're going to have a huge impact in those markets. I think overall it's a really exciting day for our league and our sport. Two new markets in great cities with passionate fan bases. I think it's just really exciting to have 52 new players in the league next year. Have all these fans witnessing and watching our games. I think it's really exciting. So again, wish all the best to Belzy and to Tejralova. Can't thank them enough. But super excited for this league and what's happening in our sport. Our approach with the amateur draft is always to pick best player available. So that will continue to be our approach moving forward on June 24th. Really excited about the draft class, particularly at the top. I don't think it's as deep, as last year's draft class, but I think there's some really exciting players at the top that we're looking at. But it doesn't really change the strategy, to be frank with you. And so we spent last week from June 4th to 8th talking to a variety of players who are on expiring contracts and discussing the possibility of playing in Ottawa next season. We obviously will be able to talk to them about signing in Ottawa as of June 16th. But we had really good conversations and talked to a lot of players. I think the really positive news from our perspective was players want to play in Ottawa. They saw what happened in the playoffs last year. They've seen our fan base over the first 2 years of this league. They understand that the cost of living in Ottawa is very affordable. They understand it's a cosmopolitan city. It's a multicultural city with a lot of diversity. The good news for us is we had really positive conversations with a lot of players, and we laid a lot of groundwork. And now that we have certainty on what our roster looks like, when that window opens on June 16th to sign those players who aren't expiring contracts, we feel like we have a great plan in place to add some players and really fill out our roster. Oh, we're in a good spot. We have flexibility to go a variety of different ways. So we're in a good spot with regard to our salary cap. I think we're all disappointed because we invested in those players and we got to know those players and they were part of our organizations for a year. So that part is difficult. There's no doubt about that. But again, I think all of us understand how exciting it is for this league and for this sport moving forward. And, we're all in this together and we all want to see this continue to grow. So, again, well, it's difficult when you're going through it and it's difficult to say goodbye to some of the players that you've invested in. Again, I think we all understand the bigger picture here and are really excited for where we're headed. Yes, I mean we put a lot of effort and collaboration and discussion amongst our group to figure out who to protect with the original three, and then who to pull back. Once we'd lost our first two players. And again, I think incredibly highly of Ashton. I think Belzy's been great for us for 2 years. Can't say enough about how she performed in the playoffs this year. She was on the top line with Jocelyn Larocque, and I think they did an incredible job. But again, we made a decision. It's a very difficult decision. Gabby really represents, what we're looking for in Ottawa charge players. The toughness, the competitiveness, the character she brings in the clubhouse. And again, these are really difficult decisions when you're trying to pick between two elite players. We just felt for us moving forward, Gabby was the right choice. But again, that's no slight at all on Belzy or Tejralova or, Danielle Serdachny or Mash. It's just these are just difficult choices. I know that's something that the league is looking into is how to help with development, whether there's development teams in Canada or in the US or in Europe. I think those discussions are ongoing. But yeah, I think two new teams. Um, that helps Canadian university players. There's more opportunities for them in this league. As I said, there's 52 new jobs. So I'm excited. We're definitely looking at some players who played, Canadian university hockey this year. They're on our draft board. Again, we'll see if it plays out and we're able to get them. But I think it's a good thing for women hockey players around the world that there's more opportunities and more jobs out there. So, in terms of development leagues, I know again it's something that our league is looking closely at is how to move that process forward. I think first of all, I think Steph Markowski, we're confident that we'll bring her back for next year. So it's really three defenders in my mind. But we have a lot of different scenarios that we've looked at in terms of adding defenders through free agency. Potentially, there's some trade possibilities. So I think there's lots of ways to add players. The draft is just one piece of the puzzle, but we've spent the last 3 weeks working through a bunch of different scenarios to make sure that we have a really solid, strong blue line, and we feel confident we'll be able to execute on that plan. Again, I don't think we approach it that way. I think we really look at best player available and who falls to us, when we're picking. So if that happens to be a defender, I guess we would go that way. If it's a tie between two players, we would probably go that way. But I don't think we really approach it with that mindset. It's really about the best player for the Ottawa Charge, and we'll draft accordingly. These are really difficult choices. Ashton's a great player. Tejralova is a great player. Jocelyn's a great player. And we just really like Rania where she is. We really like the game that her game from this year was her first year in this league, and we felt like she played incredibly well as she was adjusting to the league. We think at her age, her best days are ahead of her now that she's acclimatized to the PWHL for a year. We love the speed component. We love the size component. We love what she brings to the clubhouse. So again, those are some of the factors that went into the decision. But as I said a couple minutes ago, these are incredibly tough decisions, and I have nothing but complimentary things to say about Belzy or Tayrosh or Jocelyn. So it was a really difficult decision at the time. But again, we're really excited about where Ranya's headed.